Well, Neil, we have made it to double figures. How about that? I mean, we kind of cheated getting here by essentially uploading an old episode that I'd never uploaded to anyone or any other platform. But I feel pretty good. Like, episode 10. How about that?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Out of interest, why didn't you publish your Greenhorn Fitness podcast?
I just didn't get around to it. To be honest,
that might be a topic of, or it's kind of a topic of this.
Yeah, but it's kind of annoying, right? It's kind of like I have like, I don't know why didn't I publish it? I don't know, because they're like good. There were good conversations. I recorded 4 episodes, all in person as well. Like, I drove down to, I don't know, Brighton somewhere or nearby and recorded 3 podcasts in a day. Like,
wow.
Properly like put some effort into it, and all like recorded on my big fancy cinema camera, recorded with these pod mics. But I don't know, maybe I just didn't enjoy it. Maybe I just didn't take it up. But either way, I hope anybody who did listen to the episode with Paul, it was an old one. We're hoping I've got another sort of, like I said, 2 or 3 that I'll probably sort of scatter in. Just to add in, because I don't want them to just sit in a closet somewhere, no one to hear them or listen to them or, enjoy them.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Hopefully we can get something out of them and you enjoyed it. But as we start every episode of the pod, Neil, how was your week?
It's good. I was waiting for that question, but it's only Tuesday for the people who are listening. A bit confusing. But my week so far, a couple of days in, going well. Yeah. Still trying to find our feet with the whole bakery thing, childcare, just getting that kind of routine in place. As with any kind of life change or next chapter in somebody's life, there's things and hurdles you need to get through. So try and navigate that. And in terms of the rest of the week, going out on Thursday night with a friend I haven't seen in a few months, which should be good. And this weekend, there's not a lot on actually. I think it's a fairly standard week. What about you?
Nice. I don't really know. Again, Tuesday, but we had a weekend. We were again going through this whole kitchen experience of sort of sat down with Wix and went through all their stuff and what they've got, and just noticed the detailed costs of things and spending money generally, which is kind of terrifying. But then also the kind of discussion with yourself when you've saved up a bunch of money and you're like, well, what the hell is money? Like, what does it do? Like, what is it doing for me? And sure, I've got it in stocks and shares and whatever else, but you're not going to realize really any pleasure. Even if it's going up, you don't necessarily realize any true pleasure from money until you use it. So at this moment, it certainly feels daunting, but it also feels super, super exciting because they've started knocking walls down. Like, they're probably demolishing like the back of my house. And
you going to do a wee video kind of vlog type thing? Or?
I don't know. I'll maybe capture some pictures or something and whatever else, but it's definitely it's a really cool and fun experience, and I'm enjoying it so far, which is good. And I haven't had to pay out or shell out anything huge just yet, so it's just been a couple of grand here or there, but still it feels kind of heavy. And then this week is preparing tomorrow, Wednesday and Thursday. In fact, we are filming probably the biggest project so far that I've been the commander of, if you want to kind of call it that, I suppose. The course called the Creatorpreneur. So it's an advancement from the Part-Time YouTuber Academy that actually launched this week. So if anyone fancies becoming a part-time or becoming a YouTuber, then Ali is selling his course. If we get this live, it might be just on time you'll be able to do it. But either way, we had a whole bunch of sign-ups. It seems successful so far. And then this Creatorpreneur course that we're launching is essentially a follow-on from that, where it helps creators understand business and how to build their businesses, because a lot of people have, large followings that actually don't make that much money, to be honest. They don't monetize it very well.
Don't know how to monetize it and stuff.
No. So this is a course for that, essentially. So it's a big one in my eyes in my court, because of the fact that it's supposed to be like a masterclass style course. It's supposed to be like high-end production levels. We've got 8 members of the team that are coming that I'm in charge to make sure they're all doing the right things. We've got 3 camera angles. There's 50 lessons to film. We've hired out this incredible penthouse that's next to London Bridge. Like, it's like we're going in, and I feel the pressure, but I also feel the excitement. So
you're going to get all 50? Was it 50 episodes?
No. This is the bit, right? A lot of stuff, and you're a project manager, Neil, so you'll know these kind of things, that fundamentally it's just the way, like, things can happen last minute, right? It's just the way it goes. So the course is pretty much done, but it's not quite done. And I think if I hadn't put a lot of pressure on to get it done, I think we'd be kind of pushing the boat. But yeah, we've got 4 days total. So we've got 2 this week, and then 2 in 2 or 3 weeks' time, where we're hiring the same venue and doing the same thing. But it's just challenging, right? I've filmed courses before. I know what I'm doing on this. It's just on a slightly bigger scale, and it's just a bit more responsibility, and it's just all that kind of stuff. So that's exciting. And then that's kind of it, really, I think, for the week. Not a huge amount. There was actually something...
curveball question.
Oh, why?
So that seems quite a intense, stressful thing to do, especially with all those people involved. How do you manage that in terms of taking work home, getting to bed at night, that kind of thing? This isn't something I'm losing sleep over. Okay.
You know, I've controlled the controllables.
Yeah.
This
got a plan in place.
I can't be more organised.
That's fair.
And that's it. You know, what will be, and I've controlled everything I can control. I made it very clear to people who have to do a very specific job on the day that they need to turn up and do that job. So, you know, it's just what it is. And I've got all the backups. I've got all the procedures in place. Like, we're ready to go. So it's all going to be good.
Cool.
So I guess it's kind of also the culture in the company. It's not one in which if you make a mistake, it's a disaster.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a doctor, not a dentist. You know, I'm not a trader. Like, we're not got billions of pounds on the line. It's expensive what we're hiring, and it's expensive what we're putting up to do it. But equally,
it's not the end of the world.
Nah, like, we just rent it again and do it again. Like, something happens, it'll be all right. Which is nice to feel, and that actually makes me operate at a better level, because I'll get a better night's sleep, and I won't feel as anxious about these kind of things, and I won't be terrified to make a mistake if something happens. You know, and have to have the confidence to say I've made a mistake. I can just be like, hold on a minute, we just need to start again. It's not worked, and that's fine. So yeah, I guess that's kind of it. There was something I was thinking about this week, Neil. It's more a question for you, but I think we could probably do a podcast about this. But it was that feeling. I got this weird feeling today, the weekend. I took Olivia out for a walk to give Laura a break, and I went shopping, and I went for a Cafe Nero and whatever else. And I don't know if it's the times that we live in, or just the general kind of masculine, fathery sort of position that you should play. Maybe it's from the past, maybe it's from the current, maybe it's from the future. But it's like I'm out with my daughter, and I need a wee. Right? I need a wee. And for those that are listening, we've got a 7-month-old, so it's not like I can just leave her outside the toilet. So I take baby into the toilet and I do a wee in the toilet. Right?
Yeah.
But who even listens to this podcast goes to the bathroom with anyone else? No one. Some people might be into that. But it's a bit weird, right? But then I'm coming out the bathroom, and there's, you know, a lady there. I'm wheeling out Olivia, and she kind of just looks at me funny. And I'm like, am I weird? Am I weird? Because I was on my own. I need to go to the bathroom and take my daughter in, and you know, that kind of led to me thinking about other stuff. Like, you know, is it acceptable, like, hold hands with my daughter? Is it acceptable to kiss her on the lips? Is it acceptable to hug her? You know, like, I don't know. Maybe this is a podcast we need to go over, and if people are interested in this, you know, if you're watching it on YouTube or you're following us on Instagram, you know, maybe let us know if it's something you'd be interested in. But I'd be quite interested in discussing that with you, because I was a bit like, I shouldn't feel like that. I shouldn't hesitate to give my daughter a kiss.
The nuances of fatherhood, and like the world we live in just now, with the public eye always watching and
judging. I think not just watching, Neil, judging.
Yeah.
So we'll maybe do that another time. But anyway, today's episode number 10, our double figure episode. Nothing special, I'm afraid, but maybe it is a bit special. We're talking about entrepreneurship, business failures, you know, what we tried, what we've failed at, maybe the lessons we potentially learned, the money we spent, lost money, and maybe perhaps what it's taught us to a certain degree. Would you say, Neil, that's the gist of what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, and maybe explore towards the end why we we did what we did. Like, why? I mean, we've got I'm looking at the list just now. We've got quite a few things on both sides that we've tried and not failed, but just not carried on. And I guess looking back at our childhood, where did we get that entrepreneurship? Why haven't we carried it on? That kind of thing would be good.
All right. Well, we kind of did. Well, I kind of did. I did a self-employed limited company director life for 12 years.
True.
Your first one, Neil, you've written down greenhorn.org, school proxy ads check from Google at 16.
Yeah.
Look at you, Elon Musk.
And is it a regret? I don't think it's a regret, but it's something I look back on, and I still tell colleagues to this day. And when it's like, oh, fun fact about you. Well, when I was 16 years old and internet was kind of up and coming, I decided our dad bought a web domain, greenhorn.org. I think just because he wanted the name and he wanted it at an email address. Anyway, long story short, I started dabbling with web design, creating web pages, and noticed that when we went to school in Brewer Academy that a lot of websites were blocked. So I've managed to find a way to basically unblock those websites through my website, and that's what a proxy is. So someone would go to greenhorn.org, they type in bebo.com or myspace.com, and it would get through the kind of firewalls of school. Anyway, I noticed it was getting pretty popular, not just at Inver Academy, but other local schools around about, to the point where the computing teacher, I'll call him out, Mr. Simpson from Inver Academy, probably not listening to this, but he started using it in his classes because he was getting frustrated by the school locking good websites down. Anyway, covered that website and ads, and yeah, I think I received 3 or 4 checks from Google, $100 each. And I've still got one to this day, which I should have taken it down and showed it on the camera, but it's in the office. I kept one. I didn't check it in or cash it in, just for memory's sake. But I was 16 at the time, and then within a few months, it turns out that hosting a proxy, which is a thing that gets over firewalls, is illegal, and it got shut down. So there's a few angry emails from the hosting company, and yeah, eventually it got taken down. So I couldn't really carry that on. I mean, you can host proxies in other countries. I'm not sure which ones, but ones that are maybe not as strict in terms of rules, but in terms of US and UK, you weren't allowed to host a proxy.
Oh, there
so
you go, Neil.
First one.
So you were basically just breaking the law and getting paid for it.
Yeah. And at the age of 16, when nobody really taught me websites and it was kind of self-taught Google ads, and yeah.
But isn't that the wonderful world that we live in now? You know, and I sympathise that people will be doing jobs that they don't enjoy. And there's certainly parts, I'm sure, of jobs that we do that we don't necessarily enjoy as much as others. But the internet gives you such an array of things that you can potentially do and learn and attempt and whatever else. Like, you can find hobbies and without having to travel anywhere or do anything or injure yourself doing necessarily. You know, you can learn like your coding stuff. You can learn like these total tips and tricks. You can learn social media advertising, video editing, all that kind of thing. I think we talked a little bit about that before, and that's kind of a pretty damn good example of that.
Yeah. So your first one, zoomy.co.uk.
This one.
What a name.
Yeah, I have no idea where that kind of came from, but it first, in fact, started as I was going to sell electronics, I think, or electronic parts. I can't exactly remember why, but I was going to like source it from China and then basically like sell the electronic parts on this zoomy.co.uk, and that was going to be a business. But then some time passed on, and I liked photography, and I'd bought a camera. I was working at the time. I was working in a hotel, in fact, at the time. I was a trainee manager at Marcliffe Hotel. I think I was maybe 18 or 19 or something. And I was like, oh, club photography would be quite good. And this was before Facebook. This was before Instagram or MySpace, whatever else. And I was like, I'll become a club photographer. So I bought like a flash for the camera and a battery and all that kind of stuff. And then after, I'd be doing shifts on reception when I was doing my sort of training managership. So you'd work from about 3 until 11 p.m. So you'd get a lift home because you finished late. So I'd take me home, and I'd basically just go straight out, and I'd basically walk up to bouncers at clubs and just be like, all right, mate, I'm a photographer. Can I come in and take photographs? So they'd go in, I'd take the photographs, I'd go home, I don't think I'd edit them really, but I'd put them on my zoomy.co.uk website and people could visit it and then, download the images and whatever else. And the business part, did you hear that?
No.
I got a notification. Oh dear, that's me talking about notifications on my computer for the podcast. No one can hear it. Anyway, so the business part of this idea, although I'll tell you why it was flawed in a second, but the business part of this idea was to take little cards, business cards, have companies sponsor their logo or whatever else on it. Like, I don't know, Tiger might have drinks promotions, and I would just hand out those so people could download the images. But then equally, you'd be advertising companies, and I'd charge a few £100 for them to advertise on it. Now, it was maybe a good idea, maybe not a good idea. But the problem was, I'd work, a normal 8-hour shift from 3 till 11, and then I'd be up till 2, 3 in the morning, going out and doing photographs and then uploading all these pictures and stuff, and then I'd work again at 6 o'clock in the morning, same day. So it kind of doesn't really work because you don't sleep very much and you're going to be pretty damn tired. And equally, although I did have the idea of having that, I wasn't a registered business. So clubs aren't going to take me seriously if they can't I can't invoice them or do all the tax things or do all those kind of things. So that kind of died a death quite quickly. But it was kind of interesting when you think about it. I literally just walked up to bouncers, doormen, and just went, "Hey, I'm a photographer. Can I come and take some pictures?" I had some balls.
Yeah, and I think in this day and age, would that even be allowed? Think of all the...
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, but even then, who knows? Even then, would it have been allowed? Why was it allowed? Because I literally just went up. I had a big camera, and I just said, "Look, I'm doing photography." I had my business cards. The manager came up, and he was like, "Oh, what do you do it for?" And I showed them the website, and they were like, "Yeah, cool, come in." So, there's red tape. Of course there is, but there's not that much red tape. And with a bit of confidence and a bit of chat, you can do anything nearly. And that was kind of it. But that kind of just taught me that, screw it. Why not just give it a try? What's the worst that can happen? Even though I felt very nervous, I felt very kind of oh, I don't know if this is going to work. But screw it. I got in. I think it was great. So
So what kind of age were you, would you say?
19.
19. Nice.
Yeah. I wasn't hacking websites or anything at 16, either getting paid by large corporations called Google. But I was in Liquid nightclub in Aberdeen at 2 o'clock in the morning taking pictures of drunk people.
Yeah, and Priory. Remember Priory?
I do remember Priory. It's probably still open. But any Aberdeen Massive listening? Whoop whoop. WizHacks, Neil? That was your next one on your list. What's that all about?
Yeah, WizHack. So this came after greenhorn.org. WizHack was a blog I started, I guess I was around 16-ish as well, 17, but kept it going for a few years. And this was a blog about technology. And back then, I can't even be bothered working out what year it was, but blogs weren't that popular, the WordPress was only, you couldn't sign up for a WordPress online, you had to kind of download the code and install it on your own host, and it was quite complicated. Anyway, so I put a blog together, and it was getting a couple of hundred hits a month, sometimes 1,000 hits, quite a lot of interaction, and I was part of a lot of forums and all that stuff. Monetized it a little bit with ads, but didn't really get anywhere. And then when I hit college, I kind of fell out of love of just writing and doing that technology thing. And that is a little bit of a regret, because you see stores like Mashable.com. So Mashable was a blog similar age to mine, and it sold for hundreds of millions of pounds. And it was I don't know if you know this, but it was a chap from Banchory that started it. And Banchory is just a small village outside Aberdeen near us. And so could have I been that success story? Who knows? But
who knows, Neil? Who knows? You can dream on it.
I can. But that was my next one.
Is there a funny thing with that though, where, and I think about this with the whole camera and video stuff. How seriously should you take your hobby? And if you start to take your hobby pretty seriously, how does that then not ruin your love for it, but taint your love for it somewhat? So it's almost as if, you went to college and that became something a bit more serious. You had to pass exams and you had to go to learn things that you were told to learn rather than things you were discovering. That kind of, Ali talks about the idea of being an archaeologist when you start YouTube, and you shouldn't worry too much about being a perfectionist. Really, you should just be kind of digging in the dirt a little bit, layer by layer, just kind of discovering things and working it out a little bit. And that's, when we talk about entrepreneurship and whatnot, then kind of that's part of it, isn't it? It's the adventure of digging that hole and finding the layers, and then, maybe there's a bit of a fossil there and a bit of a gem, and then maybe you've just wasted all your life digging a massive hole and there's nothing in it. But you've learned a lot, right? So
yeah. I mean, the stuff I learned from WizHack is massive. Just even creating content actively, and the way I write and stuff like that. And I've been in newspapers and stuff. I don't know if I'd say that's famous, but I don't know. I seem to be quite good at putting words together and making content. And I think that probably stems from creating a blog when I was 16 and following that through for a few years. So definitely life lessons I've learned from that.
Fair enough.
Your next one, YouTube.
Ugh. This is a love-hate relationship, I think. Because the whole video...
you now work for a YouTuber.
Well, yeah. And he literally says, like, leverage me. You have a captive audience now. You can use my name. I could be in your videos. Like, why don't you make them? But it was more... I started making stuff on Facebook was the first time I did it, when I did the whole bodybuilding vlog journey thing for 210 days straight. And I uploaded it onto YouTube. Yeah, and I uploaded it into YouTube. And I wasn't very smart about it. It was just uploading, and maybe some videos here or there would get 1,000 views or 500 views or whatever else. But either way, my YouTube channel's amassed sort of 3.6 thousand followers, 3.7 thousand followers. But in lockdown, I decided to did an experiment actually, and I got a bit more smart about YouTube. So YouTube is a search engine. It's just like Google, where you can go learn things, you can find out things, you can do all sorts of bits and pieces. And I looked up, you use something called vidIQ, where you can look up like tag names, title names, descriptions, what's trending, what the competitors are, how many people are searching for it, if it's interested people, all these kind of things. So you can basically carve a video out of something that's maybe got low competition but a high search volume. And one of them was this thing called the shake diet. And it was a shake diet where I also wanted to challenge the idea that dieting in general, fat loss has to be this like kind of sustainable approach, where actually it doesn't. Like, it doesn't need to be sustainable. The habits that you do during this diet need to be sustainable. So things like eating vegetables, having a high protein diet, doing lots of activity, all those things can be carried on outside of the diet. But the diet itself doesn't have to be sustainable. So anyway, I did this shake diet. So I'd have 2 shakes a day and a main meal. And I just wanted to see what it would happen in 30 days. Because there's kind of 30-day experiment stuff all over sort of YouTube. So I wanted to tap into that. So I got a little bit more smart. I wrote a script for it and everything. I wrote B-roll and just basically planned it all out to make it look sexy and cool. And the first video has done over 110,000 views.
Wow.
The second video has done over 30,000. I think the third one did over 45,000 views. So I did like this is what I'm doing video, this is what's happened. Then I did a vlog about it, and then I did like a recap and recommendation thing. Like, that's nearly 200,000 views in 3 videos on a channel that has 3.6 thousand subscribers.
Yeah.
I made like 600 quid from that video.
Yeah.
But here's the big but. I haven't made any more videos after it.
Yeah. And it comes to a question of like, why don't we carry these things on?
I don't know. I don't know. And I'm frustrated in myself that I didn't carry it on, because clearly there was success there. Like, I'm clear. That's evidence. Like, most of my other videos, for those that are watching, if they want to subscribe, Gordon Greenhorn on YouTube, I was getting 500-600 views a video. Nothing spectacular, not even close to spectacular, in fact, but it wasn't terrible. And I actually got quite a lot of business off of it because of coaching, because video is like a really good way for people to interact and get to know you, and that's kind of the part of coaching. It's more of a personal experience. But I clearly then demonstrated that I was capable of making videos that would get large views.
Yeah,
because I was smart about it. I managed it. I could film it all very cinematically or make it look good. Like, I've got all of the stuff there and the ingredients, but I didn't want to put it in the fucking oven. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I don't know why. And it wasn't. There's no other excuses. Like, I had time. I was married to Laura. It was during lockdowns. I could have made videos but I didn't.
Yeah.
One of the things I think does slow me down now is because I'm in a position where perfection is something that kind of, or making it really good, like really, really good because it's my profession now. That slows me down.
Yeah, yeah. I can understand why.
I need to adopt that idea of like done is better than perfect. But at the
Kind of
same
like what we
time,
did with this podcast. Like we just started episode
100%, 100%.
Just went for it.
And I keep doing it, A, because there's a level of consistency now, like we're having these conversations. B, I find it really fun. It's a really enjoyable thing for it to do. C, I've got an accountability coach in you. So you're asking me, we're conversing on some days and most days about certain things that we're doing. It's quite unique. I've never podcasted before or seriously podcasted before. So that's kind of a cocktail. But I do want this YouTube thing to be something. Because I think I'm quite good on camera. I think I've got good ideas. I think I'm very good at filming. So I need to have a really good go at it. And I did think actually if the whole if the whole Ali thing didn't work out for some reason, I have no idea why. But let's say if it didn't, I've got some money from my old limited company that still sat in the business account. Would I go all in on YouTube for a year? I might do.
Yeah.
If I'm honest. I might just give it a go.
If you make that your full-time job.
Well, I would literally, that would literally be what I do. And you know what? I would give it a go, actually. But just for the year. And if it didn't do it, then I'd give up. Get a job.
It's going to be hard to juggle your job with Ali, your child, Laura, all that stuff.
It is difficult, but that's not an excuse, though, Neil. Like
I know.
we're all busy. Like everyone's busy. You know, Ali built a channel that's got 2.7 million subscribers, and he was a full-time doctor in the NHS, making 2 videos a week. I can do it. Like I can make videos.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's like that thing where you've got that pinnacle thing as well, where you've made like a video that's done 110,000 views. If that's your best one, then does anything else compare just yet until it beats it? And if you don't make that, and then you put all that effort into it and you don't get those views again, does that feel wasted? Does that feel like you've just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
By the by. I do want you to start. I almost signed you up for the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. We get like family and friends discount.
I know.
Essentially, it's free if you do the work. It's not free if you don't do the work.
We'll see.
But I'd love you to do a family channel again. I know you're worried about the whole like people seeing your kids and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But equally, I think. I don't know. I think you'd be really good at it.
We'll see.
We'll see. This one's quite good. Your next one's pretty good. I do like it because you kind of had this great idea, but then there's a story about it, which I think you could probably tell, which is pretty tough. But the whole INRG apps.
Yeah, yeah. So this was actually founded by my father-in-law and myself. And it was a proper business. So the ones I just mentioned previous, they were just bits on the side that I'd make I don't know, a few pounds and pence from. But this one was fully fledged business, registered, all that kind of thing. And it had kind of 2 strands to it. It was a business where we wanted to create and develop our own apps and put them on the App Store and sell them and get a cost for them, and then also develop apps for local businesses in Aberdeen. So we approached a few people. I'll start on that one first because that's easier to say. So he's mentioned a few times about Scott Baptiste, Food for Fitness. We approached him, created an app for him for his recipes, I think. Yeah, it was his recipes, and it had various packs in it, and you could buy each pack, and it was in-app purchasing and stuff. And that went well. Like it was a good kind of project we got into, worked well with him. But Apple changed a few things, and Scott wanted to go down the ebook route. So he actually took the app offline, and that kind of fizzled out. And the second kind of revenue stream we looked at was making apps for ourselves. So, and then publishing them on the App Store and getting money from them. So we actually created a few. I think I can probably remember 3 or 4. And around about things like castles in Scotland, things like, it was all Scottish Pacific outdoorsy stuff, and people would pay 69p for an app, and we'd make a couple of £100 a month from them. But there was this one really big app that we're developing called, I can't even remember what it's called now. I think we're just going to call it iEnergy, because it was around calculating these complex equations that engineers use to do crazy things, like if you've got a steel pipe that weighs 100 tons and you need to lift it, then there's a special equation for that and stuff like that. And these engineers use all these mathematical equations, but there's no calculator out there to actually do them well. So we approached a company in Aberdeen that developed applications, and we said, look, we don't have much upfront cost, or upfront investment, sorry. Would you mind coming in on us and helping us develop this app, and then we can do a revenue share? So I think it went down 6 months down the road. We got a designer, a developer, and we got our first prototypes with the app. It's going really well. The app looked great. Had features like exporting it to email, notes, and all that stuff. And it was working really well on iPad and iPhone. And it went live. And it was a light version that went live, and it had packs you could buy. So these engineering calculations, say there's 1,000 calculations, we broke them into packs of 250 each. So people had to buy the packs. And yeah, it was all going great. And unfortunately, and this is where the kind of sad part is, that unexpectedly the lead developer on the app passed away. And she was our age, well, my age, our age, Gordon's, but early 20s at the time. He was living in London, and she had a heart attack, and ambulance didn't get her to her close soon enough, so she passed away. Long story short, we felt it was kind of right just to kind of wind things down. Didn't pursue it, and yeah, that was the end of that.
So why did you stop? Like, why did you let that stop? Why not just start again?
I guess we could have started again. There was, with the Pacific app, the scientific calculator app thing, there was a lot of issues with source code and who's owning it, and parents of the person. It got a bit messy, so we put that to the side. We could have carried on the kind of approaching companies and getting apps developed and that kind of thing, because our kind of business model was, we didn't actually hire or have any developers. It was myself as kind of a bit of the technology side of things, and William is a bit of a business side of things, and we would outsource the creation of the app. So we'd use things like Odesk, Fiverr wasn't around then, but yeah, third-party tools to get these developers from other countries that were generally cheaper, and then we'd make a markup on that. So it was a really good business model, and it's similar to your YouTube thing. I don't really know why we stopped. I mean, family was probably one of the things. Isla was not born, I don't think, when we started it. I moved down here, so my kind of relationship with my father-in-law is still great, but we no longer see each other every couple of days or meet for coffee and stuff. So yeah, I think it just fizzled out. And I've always said, like, if I was to lose my job again, or not again, but lose my job, or yeah, have more time to have a bit on the side, and I could do it. I could probably get that fire started again.
Fair enough.
So.
I mean, just to note for anyone who's listening on the podcast, I do have a guest arriving in about 10 minutes or so. So if you hear the door going off and people in the background, then, let's roll with it.
You've got people coming over at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, I've hired a videographer to essentially film BTS, or behind the scenes of the filming for tomorrow. So he's staying with me. So he's been doing a job already in London, so he's coming to stay. But anyway, you might hear him in the background, but who cares? Anyway, my next one. This isn't, like, some of these aren't really business fails. Like, they're not dramatic falls through the floor where you've lost.
What's the title for this podcast? Because it's not really failures. We're not bankrupt.
Well, I mean, I suppose this is lessons, business, entrepreneur lessons, maybe something like that. Who knows? But this one was a thing that I set up in Aberdeen when I was personal training, called Fitness for a Fiver. What a great name. Fitness for a Fiver. The triple F, FFF. But it went okay. Like, I'd get maybe on a good day, 10 people turn up. Anyway, I should probably explain what Fitness for a Fiver was. So Fitness for a Fiver, the idea was, you pay £5, I'd take you around a park, you do a workout for an hour, and you go home. So I'd go down to I think it was Duthie Park. Yeah. Go down there. A few of them. Yeah, I'd have people jogging around. We'd do some press-ups, some circuits, body weight stuff around the park, and it was just kind of a nice thing to do out in the great outdoors. I'd do it on like a Saturday morning, 11 o'clock. And like I said, you could just drop in £5, and that was it. And on good days, I'd have like maybe 10 people turn up, that kind of thing. So they weren't massive. But the reason why I kind of see it as a bit of a business failure was, there wasn't like a membership. You didn't subscribe to anything. You didn't buy packs of sessions or anything like that. It was all just drop in when you like. So it's quite easy for people not to turn up. Whereas I probably could have had people sort of understand, well, they need to commit to something. But ultimately that didn't happen. The sessions were fine. It was all good, but it's all weather dependent, that kind of thing. So that kind of made it a bit more challenging. And, you'd inevitably get like 1 or 2 people turn up to sessions. Or you get 1 person turn up. So you're working for £5. Not great, right? Not a lot of money at all. And that's probably the reason why I see it as a bit of a failure, was because I didn't think about it. I wasn't very smart. And I could have been much smarter. But then equally, the way I look at it was, it's that continual like entrepreneurial spirit to a certain degree, where you're like, oh, I want to do this kind of thing, and try it out and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, like, your idea doesn't have to be great to start with. It just doesn't have to put you at much risk. And the only risk that I was sort of going at with this whole fitness for a $5 thing was just losing my time. Right? People just weren't turning up. They weren't really kind of interested, and that was it. I didn't put £10,000 into it. And I could lose £10,000, which even now that would be a lot of money, but then especially it would be a hell of a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I suppose that there's a bit of a lesson there, I would say, if anyone's sort of thinking about starting a business, is if you can keep it scrappy and keep it lean, then screw it. Like, why are you not doing it? Why are you not giving it a try? That seems like a bit of a waste if you don't, because then if it turns into something, I could have then, if I think more people had turned up, it becomes something really big, then I would have maybe thought about packages or doing something like that, or marketing it better, or whatever the hell else it could have been. But, it didn't. So I move on to the next bit and see what happens, I suppose.
No, I think it was a good idea. I enjoyed it as well. I participated. I probably did pay. And Rebecca went with me back in that was like 9 years ago, probably 8 years ago. That was a long time.
This was I got Facebook memory catch-ups. This was nearly 10 years ago, Neil.
Wow.
Like, I was running around a park, selling things for £5. And here I am now, working for a 2.7 million subscriber YouTuber, head of production.
Yeah. Now your hourly rate is something different.
It's a bit different, yes. I don't think I'd get up for £5. Let's be honest.
Kids books is my last one. Kids books. So this was actually an idea Rebecca and I had, and I think it was probably more Rebecca, but I kind of helped her with it. And our idea was to just create a kids book. So get an illustrator, create some nice images and a nice storyline, and then sell them. And we got as far as thinking of storylines, paying a illustrator on Fiverr, which is a great website for getting people relatively cheap. I mean, it wasn't a Fiverr, it was slightly more, but yeah, he created some great kind of nice hand-drawn artwork for the book, and the storylines was kind of there. But again, it was just something that did life get in the road? I don't know. I can't describe why, but it was a bit of a business idea that we wanted to start, and didn't end up pursuing. Which,
really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
With that type of thing, though, it's kind of interesting because with that type of thing, it's, if you're selling products like that, you either have to get super lucky, where it's a product that's like a diamond, right? It's a diamond in the rough. It's the most incredible thing. It's changing the industry. Like, it's beyond belief, which is unlikely these days, especially with kids' books. Like, you're not first to market with a kids' book, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Or you need an
What's
audience.
my USP?
Or you need an audience, and a very big audience. And having building a large audience would have given you that ability to sell kids' books. So, Neil, if you start YouTube and you start doing family YouTube videos and you get 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, I'm pretty sure you could sell a few kids' books.
Yeah.
So, you're going to start your YouTube channel now, yeah?
Perhaps.
Is that a mild commitment on the podcast? I think I quite like that. But no, it sounds like a good idea. But again, I think it's, when we think about things, probably more so. Again, no risk, staying scrappy, staying lean. But still, it would have been difficult to execute, I think. Probably very difficult to execute.
Yeah.
And monetize, yeah, because, people are going to be spending £5-6, something like that on a website. By the way, the chap I've got him, I don't know if you're watching on the old YouTubes, but he's 0 minutes away, so we may have a guest burst into the house at some point. But my last one actually was to discuss. I spent a lot of money on a new website, new branding, new everything for my fitness company. So it was new colours, there was a whole new website was designed, a new logo, the whole lot, new spreadsheets, the lot. And I spent a lot of money on it, like £5,000 on that kind of stuff. And then I got a job working as head of production for Ali Abdaal YouTube channel. So I suppose I didn't waste it, but it's a lot of money for not a lot of anything, to be perfectly honest. Like,
yeah.
What can I do? I suppose it's not a mistake, but it is kind of a mistake, and equally as well, like I ended up actually getting my first website for free. So if you kind of think about it, I had that website for about 8 years. So $5,000 over 8 years isn't too bad, but it was kind of like I probably could have done it a bit cheaper or been a bit scrappier, because websites are all right, but it wasn't my main source of income. It was just more of a page or a traffic insight and whatever else. So I suppose it's kind of like the lesson I learned from that was just to take a step back and be like, do I need to spend this much? Is this actually the amount that I need to spend? Could I take my time a bit more? Is it appropriate? Blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, $5,000 on the website was all right, but definitely too much, I think. Like, have you ever spent like too much on something and been like, this was not a good investment?
I don't think so. I think all my business ideas have either been just bootstrapped and not taking very much money. They've all, and the aim, for example, iEnergy Apps, we looked at getting people on board to take a cut of the revenue that would hopefully generate. So that was pretty, I can't think of any kind of investment. Out of interest, are you going to go back to fitness, do you think? Can you see yourself resurrecting that business?
I don't know. I mean, it's always there, right? It's always in the back of the mind. It's always going to be able to let me do something with it. Like, I'll be able to...
Yeah. So it might not be wasted, is my point.
No, it won't be, and it's a skill set that I'm still always going to hold on to, and I still stay up to date with some of the papers and things that come out. I've still subscribed to various things on Twitter and Facebook and all that kind of thing. So I'm still able to do something with it. But I don't know, maybe that time in my life's moved on a bit. Maybe that's time where I'm like, yeah, do I need to go back to it? Do I want to go back to it? Because I got to that point within the fitness industry where by no means was I an expert. Like, I wasn't at the top of my field. I didn't feel like that at all. There's people better than me, more understanding in certain subjects within personal training. But I definitely felt like I'd mastered the basics. I could train people really well, take them through personal training sessions, help them enjoy it a lot. I knew enough to help people get into great transformations, get into shape. I could do all that kind of stuff. So when you get to that point, I don't know, I think that kind of thing just comes a bit boring. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe not.
The challenge goes away a little bit.
It does a little bit. And I enjoy the coaching and enjoy the people that I work with. Like, there's still clients that I coach online that are still with me. I've got a chap that I work with. His name's Aidan. We've been working together for probably a year nearly, actually. He's a personal trainer, a very young personal trainer. So I really enjoy the mentoring aspect and helping him answer questions. And we have a chat for an hour twice a month. And I like doing that. That's really fun. And he still pays me for it. Like, he still pays me quite well, and it's good. And he's grown a lot. He went from becoming a personal trainer in lockdown to, he makes 40, 50, 60 grand a year now.
Nice.
Like, it's good. And I like giving him confidence because he's a very good personal trainer. He just needed a bit of confidence knowing that he was doing the right thing. Anyway, I've gone way off tangent, but effectively, I spent $5,000 on a website, and yeah, here we are. I don't use it, so not a great business.
That could be a nice watch, Gordon.
Yeah. But then if I'd paid myself the $5,000, I would have paid a shit ton of tax on it. So,
okay.
And you can't. I did ask my accountant that, and I did say, if I buy myself a watch for work, is that okay? He was like, yes, but would it just be specifically used for work, and is it specifically for what you need it for in terms of fitness?
Has it got a timer on it?
And I was like, well, it's kind of got a stopwatch on it. He was like, are you thinking about buying a Rolex, Gordon, trying to claim that against the company? And he's like, you can't do that. And I was like, okay, I won't do that then. So, yeah, it's that kind of stuff. And I suppose, there's other things that I've done where like this podcast, for example. So these microphones, all the kit that was for it and whatever else, I think I probably spent maybe 350 quid on all like the microphones and cables and stands and all that kind of stuff, which isn't much, to be fair. But it's still an investment where it just sat around not doing anything for a while. And but now here I am. Like, I'm really glad that I bought it, because I had it there and I was like, oh, I could use that for like a podcast with Neil. That would be really cool. So, but what would you say? What would you say was like the lessons of all these things that you've done? You know, if you're encouraging people to try and do it, you know, how do you encourage them to do it? Like, how do you tell them why it's a good thing to do it?
Yeah, I keep trying different things, and I think there's probably I stopped doing these kind of entrepreneurial things when I had kids, because that effectively drains a lot of your time, and now I've got 3 kids, and that kind of distant memory, or it feels like it's a distant memory of
Neil,
me.
We're trying to encourage people to do it. We don't want to give them the depressing nature of your life when you've got 3 kids and you get COVID.
Encouragement.
Right? I want to hear you.
Just do it. Just be brave.
Why do it?
Because you might have the opportunity or the chance to be your own boss and to earn something, even if it's on the side, that's going to impact your life, increase your life.
Do you think, you know, a lot of people will allow their job to sort of define them to a certain degree? And when I say that, I mean, you know, you're at a wedding and someone says, what do? You don't turn around and say, oh, I like playing football sometimes. Do you know what I mean? I like sewing, or I like cooking. Yeah. You turn around and you say, I'm an architect, or I'm a lawyer, or I work as a project manager, or whatever else. So your job kind of becomes your definition to a certain degree. And we don't all like our jobs. A lot of people probably hate them.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't hate my job, by the way, just.
And neither do I, just for the record. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that some people aren't in that position where they like their jobs. But what I also find from these little projects that you have is your job then becomes a little less of a definition of yourself. You know, I think the fitness thing and doing bodybuilding and stuff meant that my job wasn't the thing that was that was defined me as a person. Yeah. It meant that, you know, all these little projects that you have, you know, you're learning a lot from them. You're learning lots of valuable skills. You're learning lots of interesting things. But it's also giving you something else to talk about other than work all the time, and your children, and, you know, the things that generally define most human beings. Because I find that when I'm having conversations with people and I'm talking about the businesses that I've tried or the things that I've done, they seem more interested in that. Yeah, yeah. Because it's a little bit less normal and a little bit less mundane. So I suppose my encouragement to do it is allow it to become a hobby. Something's fun, and being that archaeologist where you're digging around in the dirt and just trying to find some stuff and uncovering things. And maybe it becomes something serious. Maybe it does become something like I'm doing now, where this is my job. This is what I do, and this is what I get paid very well to do. But, you know, it's really cool building websites and other things, and making cakes, and designing kids' books, and starting a bloody podcast. Like, who knows? Sure, I doubt we're ever going to have Elon Musk on this podcast. I hope I have to eat my words in years to come. But at the end of the day, like, it's just a fun little project. It doesn't cost us much. I think it's less than £50 a month for us to run this. Like I said, the equipment was under £200 each. That's pretty cool. Yeah, yeah. So I'd encourage so many people to try it.
Final question: Where do you think we get our entrepreneurial spark from?
I mean, Dad starting the whole fruit game, you know, the fruit farm thing that we grew up on. You know, that takes some. That'd be a good topic if it comes in the podcast. Yeah, yeah. I'd like to talk about that. I suppose that's one of them. But no, I don't really know, because our parents, for those that are listening, they're kind of risk averse. You know, they don't make extravagant decisions and putting investments in certain things or starting businesses or wherever else. But they did own a fruit farm for many years. You know, which is kind of interesting. I know. I don't know. I don't know, actually, really, to be perfectly honest.
I've tried to explore that question, and I can't put my finger on it.
But then I think there's an element of like ignorance and curiosity mixed together in some weird way. Because often when you take on a task, you don't recognise, or a lot of the time, certainly if you're ignorant to a certain degree, you don't recognise the difficulties and trauma that can come from that. You know, if I really thought about my personal training endeavours, getting up at 3:45 in the morning to sometimes go and train clients, that's a hideous time of the day to go and train people. You know, the fact that you'd have to work, when I was in Nuffield, I was working for like 12, 13 pounds an hour, but doing 100-hour weeks.
Wow.
You know, and then most of them weren't working. Like, most of them were just trying to get clients. You know, to the earth-shattering idea that all your clients could leave you and you'd earn no money whatsoever and not be able to pay the bills. You have no employment status. You have no holidays. You have nothing. And, you know, that, if you actually knew that, so I suppose there's that curiosity, there's that, you know, mild ignorance, I suppose, of the pains that can come along with it. Maybe we're kind of like a bit like that, and a willingness to put our hands up, I suppose, and be wrong and challenge certain ideas, and not really worry too much about what people think about us. I don't know where that comes from, but maybe I don't know. That's my 2 pence, I suppose.
Nice. Well, on that note, I thought that was a good podcast. Another good one to add to the books.
It is. It's just enjoyable. I think if anyone's sort of considering, I don't know if anyone ever considers doing a podcast or not, or fancy doing it, but I personally would highly recommend it. I think it's, so far I've really enjoyed it. We only get maybe, 30, 40 downloads per episode, which it's fine by me. But it's really cool when people message us and say, "Oh, we're really enjoying the podcast," and I really appreciate it. People reaching out and really some people tuning in, which is quite nice.
And for me, it's just taking your mind back to that place of, like, I don't know, 15, 16 years ago, where I wouldn't have normally gone back there and now documented it, discussed it with you, and maybe dug a little deeper about why I did certain things. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, because I don't really know enough about our grandparents.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I don't. I don't really know what they worked in. Like, I know that our granddad Claude. I didn't even know his name was Claude because he died before I was born. But his name's Claude, and all the men in Greenhorns were called Claude. And Dad's name's John. He was the one that broke up this Claude dynasty that was happening with the male Greenhorns. So could you imagine my name was Claude Wallace Greenhorn? Jesus Christ!
But even our parents, like, we obviously know them, but we don't know them that well.
Not really, no. No, the jobs that I know. I remember Dad used to talk about going to, like, worked in bars and things in Edinburgh, and I know that he didn't. I'm not sure if I'm explaining it well. Maybe he'll tell me off, but I don't think he took life too seriously until he was about his 30 something. And then Mum was young. They were young. Mum was young when he met Dad, and they don't really much about him. And that's why I like the podcast. Like, I'd like to interview David, my father-in-law. Maybe interview your father-in-law. Like, I don't know, just chat to people and ask them about their perspectives on the world and life, I suppose. That'd be quite cool.
Sounds good.
All right, well, another episode in the bag. I hope everyone's enjoyed the episode number 9 that came out of the fitness vaults and it's listened to. Neil said he really enjoyed it and said we should post it, so hopefully I'll get a couple more of them out. But either way, I hope you've really enjoyed this podcast. I'm not entirely sure what the next one will be. Who knows? What have we got on our list, Neil? Have we got anything interesting?
Will it be just checking dates? No, it won't be that one.
Could do like in 5 years, maybe. Or should we do another dad one?
Yeah, we can do a dad one.
All right, we'll come up with a dad one. How about that? All right, for any of the regular listeners on the Monday, we'll see if we can come up with a dad one for the next one. But either way, really appreciate anyone who's listened. I hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Any questions or queries, please follow us on Instagram. You can ask questions on YouTube if you want to watch it there. Both are Greenhorn Podcast. I think we've also got a website now, greenhornpodcast.live. Neil's been fantastic building all that and getting it sorted. Yeah. Hope you have a great week, Neil. Hope you have a great week as well. Any final words to pass some wisdom on to the audience?
No.
Excellent. Excellent. Right. We'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.